I'm here in sunny Orlando, Florida, and behind me is the Hyatt Regency Orlando, and they're getting ready to host the CPAC conference. Now, I spent most of the day driving here, and after just a few short hours, I'm reminded how much I really dislike Orlando, the Hyatt Corporation, and this wasn't known to me before, but now I have to let people know what a reprehensible group CPAC is. Now, I had registered for press credentials to come to this thing, and I was denied. People can see I did get a registration confirmation. I was kind enough to be offered a guest invitation. I won't share who gave that to me. CPAC knows who it was. But this is a confirmation that says come in and scan it and get your registration on. And well, let me take a step back for a moment and explain exactly what happened. People who've been following the road trip are aware that sometime last week I covered the Donald Trump President's Day rally in Palm Beach, Florida, where I met up with Laura Loomer. I think Crowdsource the Truth viewers really appreciate Laura. I know I do. Laura works hard. She's just announced she's going to be running for Congress again in 2022. So support Laura Loomer. And the interesting thing is, when I went on there, no shortage of idiots wherever I go. That's another good thing to see around the country. I don't know if people saw that, but somebody hanging out of their Mercedes making gang signs or something. But the point is, Laura's running for Congress. I think Laura deserves our support. I think she's going to make a real difference if and when she gets into Congress. But I went on there to go to CPAC because I was speaking to Lee Stranahan. He's going to be at CPAC. And I figured I'm in Florida. It's in Florida. Could be a good time to go. But the $35 general admission was sold out. And it was like very expensive, several $100s. I think $750 or something crazy. So I said, I'm not going. And Lee said, well, no, get press credentials. And I said, oh, that's a good idea. So I went to the press section of the CPAC website. I filled out the whole thing, told them about Crowdsource the Truth. They said, well, give us a link to something you've covered recently. And it was like the day after that President's Day rally. So I included that link. And people will recall that I had named it, something like Donald Trump President's Day rally with special guest Laura Loomer, and Laura's featured in the thumbnail. Anyway, within a very short amount of time, CPAC got back to me and said, your press credentials are denied. Now, I understand you're dealing with a conservative organization. I think a lot of people are worried about these types of events getting infiltrated by people who would disrupt it or even do violence. President Trump is going to be there on Sunday. We got to make sure it's secure. You don't want guerrilla journalists like John Sullivan getting in there infiltrating as they did on January 6th. Something we've been saying since that day, by the way. A lot of people have been sending me Millie Weaver's documentary. I've watched most of it. I have to say it's quite good. I don't know Millie personally, and I got a real issue with Patrick Berge. I had a brief communication with Tori, whatever her name is. So I don't know. Millie seems to do great work. I don't know what the deal is with those other people, but I was looking at that documentary, and Tara had some footage and some issue with a conversation that was edited in there. I don't want to say anything bad about Millie until I understand the full extent of what's going on there. The documentary looks good. The information she's found looks good. These Sullivan brothers are a real problem that need to be looked into. But the point is, I get it that they got to be careful with who they're letting into these events. But I had nothing but good intentions to go there, cover the event, see people. I'm sure there'll be people I know, friends of mine, people I would meet. I was looking forward to it. As I said, I spent most of the day driving here, booked into a hotel. I actually had a lot of plans. This thing is like 3 days. I was going to stay until Sunday, so I booked up a hotel until then. There's all kinds of stuff around here that I was going to get into. But I go there to CPAC. Well, right, sorry. So they said you're not allowed in because you're covering Laura Loomer, or they didn't even say why. They just almost immediately denied the press credential. So I called Laura and she said, yeah, she's banned for life from CPAC. I don't know why that is. I seem to recall something with Michael Avenatti, maybe that was it. I don't know if that was CPAC or someplace else. But they don't like Laura. So now because I presented the recent coverage of me having covered an event that Laura was featured at, I guess they don't like me. So I was speaking to someone else who, I don't know if they want to be named or not, but they said, oh, I can get you in. I have, guest passes or speaker passes or something like this. Filled it out, registered me up with a different email address, and I got a confirmation. I think I just showed everybody. I got that confirmation. It said, come in, scan your thing, you're confirmed. And I just went there right now, and they said, oh, there's some kind of problem. Go talk to that person. So I went and spoke to that person, and they said, well, it won't print. Maybe go to the media place. Or speak to, they were sending me from person to person. You're the kind of runaround you get when you go to these events, and they're difficult to put together. So I was politely, calmly going from one person to the next, trying to resolve the problem, unwinding that it had to do with the media credential being canceled and this other credential there. They told me that the registration wasn't complete and that the person who gave me the guest pass didn't pay the fee, and now they're sold out, so there's nothing they can do. And I said, but wait a minute, how come I have this confirmation email that says come on into the self-service thing, scan your barcode, and you're in? It doesn't say anything about having to pay a fee. I mean, what kind of guest invitation would that be if you have to pay a fee? That wouldn't make any sense at all. So a couple people gave me the runaround, and they said, well, go talk to this person, go talk to that person. And eventually I wound up at the VIP, the speaker lounge, because this was a speaker guest pass. So I'm speaking to this polite woman, Macy, at the speaker lounge, and she's sort of confused by what's going on, and she's texting people and calling people, and this woman, Annabelle, came down. And, at first it seemed like she was willing to make a reasonable effort to try to get it resolved. I mean, simply on the basis of the fact that I was presenting myself there. I mean, I guess I'm not dressed in my best here. I just was driving all day, but I don't think I look like a particular problem. And I was being polite. I didn't even get angry. I didn't raise my voice. I was just waiting there for them to resolve it. Because in a situation like that, obviously getting angry is a guarantee to not get it sorted out. So I just sat there saying nothing. And Annabelle said, well, I'm just going to make a call and let's see what we can do. So this guy in a suit comes over and he says, there's no ticket for you. And I said, well, maybe you guys could make one. And he said, no, we can't do that. Come speak to these guys. And I turn around and there's two Hyatt Regency security guards there. And I was escorted out of the hotel by security. I had created no security incident. I posed no threat to anyone in that building, anyone in that organization. Oh, and by the way, their theme, well, this is going to probably monetize the video here now. Their theme for this year's event is Uncancel America. Okay, after CPAC is over, they're going to continue to use this information that you give them throughout the year as a way to connect, to plan and mobilize, to fight back against the left and promote conservative principles. Conservatives have much to work for to uncancel America. This is the most hypocritical. Is that a live performance of it? Orlando is dead right now. The hotel I was staying at is a pretty large hotel. The woman at the desk told me there were 13 people checked in. I guess that's unlucky. Anyway, Matt Schlapp and his schlock CPAC organization are planning to uncancel America unless they don't like you. Then they're going to cancel you for no reason whatsoever. So I didn't do anything. I had no issue with CPAC or Matt Schlapp before this. And they've chosen to throw me out of their event. And they shared my phone number with the Hyatt. After I left, I got a phone call from the Hyatt security, whatever, saying, oh, you've been banned from CPAC and the Hyatt. Don't come back to the Hyatt. which, by the way, don't worry, Hyatt, I won't be back. And I can't tell people what to do, but I recommend that people consider this the next time they're trying to select a hotel. I will not do business with Hyatt anymore. That was an offensive way to handle the situation. They could have just said, look, sorry, there's no tickets. You're friends with Laura. We don't like Laura. We're hypocrites. We're hypocrites. We just arbitrarily throw people out. Frankly, I just don't think this is an organization that Donald Trump should even be associating with. If people, CPAC, that's terrible. Oh, look, CIA Compass Rose. Yeah, so that just happened. I had planned to do a bunch of interviews and bring everybody a lot of exciting information, different people I would have met at CPAC, but that's not happening. So we got to recalibrate a little bit. And I mean, I guess this is a shopping mall I'm in right now, but there's nobody here. Oh, and yeah, just in regard to Orlando in general, to dispel any rumor that Florida is some sort of, COVID-free paradise, and I won't disparage the hotel that I checked into because they're nice, they're just doing their job, the people who are working there and everything, but they made me sign a document that said that the hotel adheres to CDC guidelines and that I'm going to maintain social distancing and wear a mask. The CPAC thing was mask-a-palooza, getting your temperature checked, and they were sure to capture lots of information, email, and have my phone scan their QR codes and things to get access from the one place to the next where they were telling me about how they didn't have tickets for me. That is a schlock event. And you know what? On my way there, I was thinking, do I want to go to another one of these things? Is this going to be another one of these, like a bigger version of the Operation Classified that was such a disaster? I don't know. I just don't know. CPAC is a reprehensible organization. Those just sniveling individuals that I dealt with are absolute losers. And I hope the President Trump will reconsider his decision to affiliate himself with such a crap organization. I still don't like Mike Pence, but he made the right decision to decline an invitation to appear there. My recommendation, if anyone cares to have it, is to not do business with CPAC. Do not do business with Hyatt. That was just a really irritating set of circumstances right there. Now this is something, I think this is Ripley's Believe It or Not. I've driven by this many times before when I've been to Orlando. I was going to go to Disney World and, do a Ghost Town USA Disney World and see what's going on there. But you know what? This whole town is owned by Disney, and that is also a reprehensible organization. The main purpose of going there would have been to check out the Club 33, whatever the hell that thing is. Disney is a monopolistic company that's buying up every single entertainment and media entity that exists so that they can control what you see. And we remember that Elmer Davis, the director of the Office of War Information, which incidentally, when you see it written in its little abbreviation there, it looks like OWL, O-W-I, but it's the Office of War Information. He said that propaganda works best when it's disguised as entertainment. So who's producing more entertainment than Disney, the disgusting monopolistic corporation that essentially owns this swamp town? I mean, this is just such an annoying waste of time to have come here. CPAC went to great lengths to tell me about their extensive vetting process that they use for their media people and how on top of all this stuff are. When they didn't want me to go because I was friends with Laura Loomer, they sent that email right away. But obviously, when they got the confirmation email sent to me, they didn't bother to send me a cancellation. I mean, at least if they had canceled it and said, hey, we just realized that you've already been denied media credentials and now you're trying to come in under another credential. You can't do that. It's canceled. At least I would have saved all the time driving, the gas, and the hotel bill. There's nothing to see around here. Orlando is a bore. It's a waste of time. CPAC is a waste of time. Sorry, everybody, short stream today. Just wanted to let you know what was going on here. If anybody has any influence with Donald Trump, let them know. This is a terrible organization, not because of what they did to me, but look at what they did to Laura. Why would they cancel Laura? She's running for Congress. She would really make a difference. When she gets in there, she will really make a difference. They're not supporting her. Where the hell do they think they're going to get? You know, Laura in Congress would be like Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey's worst nightmare, not to mention Ilhan Omar, AOC. We need that kind of balance. We got radical leftists in Congress. I think we've got Antifa members in Congress. I think, is this going to get me kicked off of YouTube? I think the vice president is Antifa. She was supporting that bail people out of jail fund. These were people that were rioting and burning down buildings. I was listening to Andy Ngo's Unmasked book on the drive over here. That is a phenomenal book. People should get that and read that. He really has become an expert in Antifa, their tactics, what they're all about. And, you know, we need to listen carefully what these people say, that it's just an idea. That's not entirely wrong. It's Antifa, when you listen to or read Andy Ngo's book, Antifa's not a traditional organization like CPAC, where you know who the board of directors are and all that sort of thing. It is an idea, but it's got all these little decentralized satellite groups like John Sullivan's Insurrection USA. These are all the same kind of groups, but because there is no centralized leadership, it becomes very difficult for law enforcement to deal with. So we are at the beginning of an incredibly dangerous period. And for an organization like CPAC that considers itself some sort of conservative, I don't know what the hell it considers itself, to shun Laura Loomer, I mean, unless she went in there and did something illegal, or I got to find out what it is that made CPAC decide that Laura Loomer is banned from there. They wouldn't tell me why they denied me the press credential. You know, that would be a nice thing for them to do. But instead, they're just exactly like Facebook, exactly like Twitter, exactly like YouTube. They don't like what you said. You're canceled. No appeal, no explanation. No, they don't even treat you reasonably. That is just really, if anybody was considering going or supporting them in any way, my recommendation is that you do not do that. And that's really all I have to say about it at this moment. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day.